Welcome back to Gangs All Here, our New York Jets podcast from the New York Post. I am your host, Jake Brown. My co-host, Brian Costello, will join me in just a few minutes. But man, it's finally here. Labor Day has passed. Week 1 is upon us. And what could be the most memorable Jets season of my lifetime could be ahead of us. All the hoopla in the world has been there. From the Jets getting Aaron Rodgers, to training camp, to One Jets Drive, to Hard Knocks, to all the storylines, all the talk of the NFL has been the New York Jets. They are the center focus of the football world because of the quarterback that they have. And while all that scrutiny, all that hype could bring a lot of pressure, it could also bring something special. And if you look on paper, and of course, we know the storyline, it's the Jets, it'll all go wrong, something will happen, but I'm not going to go down that route this season. I refuse to go down that route because everything I've seen in camp, Hard Knocks, on the field, off the field, coaching, the Hall of Fame quarterback, it shows me that the Jets are primed for a special season. It shows me that the Jets are a far better team than the 7-1 team we saw last year. And obviously, it goes without saying, Rodgers has to stay healthy. They got to stay healthy. That's most NFL teams. If your quarterback gets hurt, you're screwed. Of course. But if the Jets stay healthy, this is going to be special. And we'll give you our picks for the season. We'll give you our predictions. But I am so fired up about this team. Because why not us? Why not the Jets? Because it's been 53 years. It's been 53 years too long since 1969. Going on 54 years now since the Jets have won a Super Bowl and since they made their only Super Bowl appearance. So why not now for these Jets? The final episode of Hard Knocks on Tuesday night, I loved it. Now, it was a little bit shorter. I wonder if the Jets decided, hey, we don't want to use that footage, or they cut some stuff short. It was a little shorter, but man, my favorite scene of the Hard Knocks season was all the Jets at MJ the Musical. From someone who saw it and, who loved that musical and who truly enjoys musicals, to see all the Jets there, to see Hackett hyped up, to see the thrill in Solomon Thomas's eyes watching that. It's special, man. And I don't think you should overlook these Jets out and about at different events because these guys will play for each other. That's the kind of stuff that translates onto the field, and you can see the chemistry off the field is there. These guys enjoy hanging out. They enjoy going out and doing things together, and they're building a family. A family primed for a special run. And I absolutely loved seeing all of them together in the first couple rows there, happy. And then, JFM, who we had on here a few weeks ago, asking about, so is it actually them singing or is it, Michael Jackson singing? It is them, JFM. These are Broadway stars. This is talent. This is Broadway. They are singing all themselves. That's what makes it special. I thought the UFO scene was incredible. I thought they went a little long on that, but that was fun. I got emotional watching Jason Brownlee and Xavier Gipson make the roster. I mean, that was really cool how they showed the cuts, but they didn't go into those meetings. They went through the guys who were surprised. Joe Douglas, it was like American Idol. They teed them up that they're going to be eliminated, and they made it. And that was special because the difference is monumental when it comes to family, when it comes to the contract, when it comes to the money. Is monumental making that roster. So good for those guys. Jason Brownlee, undrafted, making the team and having a shot as the Jets with, a 7 wide receiver deep depth chart, but, Gibson's a special teams guy. Brownlee could be a special teams guy. So good for those guys making the roster. And good for another guy I got to meet a few weeks ago, Tanzel Smart, for making it to the practice squad. That got me emotional when he got let go and he's holding his beautiful daughter, and good for him to make it back. But tremendous job by Hard Knocks. Jeff Ulbrich drinking game would be every time he drops an F-bomb, take a shot. You'd be hammered. I mean, he's fierce. He's competitive. Same with Robert Saleh. What he said. his speech. Not just the crow speech, but he talked about like, he doesn't want the coach to come to him at midfield and say, hey, you played hard. The quote was, one of my biggest pet peeves I have as a coach when you're on a team that's not doing very well, and the opposing coach whose team is doing well walks up to you at the 50-yard line and says, man, you guys play hard. He said, you. I don't want to play hard. I want to you up. That's the mindset. No one is talking about how we play hard anymore. They're hating. That's exactly what you want. Now, that's a quote right there from Coach Solid. And he is the ultimate motivator. We know that. And we see that. Now we see how he does with a quarterback, with a team, with an elite defense, with wide receivers, with Cook and Brees in the backfield. And, for all the naysayers of the offensive line, I'll say this. Give him a shot. Left tackle Dwayne Brown was a Pro Bowler in 2021. And I know his age. I know he's 38. But this is a veteran with a strong track record who was a Pro Bowler just 2 years ago. Left guard Laken Tomlinson may have not had the greatest year last year, but he got a big contract for a reason. Another guy who came off a Pro Bowl in 2021. So why can't he get back to Pro Bowl form? Right guard Elijah Vera-Tucker was a star, was budding to be a star. Rookie year, great. 2021, gets hurt last year, out for the year. Why can't he come back and look like the guy we saw? And then right tackle, all the scrutiny in the world, Mekhi Becton. Yes, he's been hurt. Yes, he hasn't played right tackle. But he showed us in camp, he's able to play it. And if he stays on the field, he can do it effectively. And his build, his frame, his work ethic, and how Rodgers has treated him, I think he's going to blossom. Now, the durability is a question mark, of course. But if Mekhi Becton can stay on the field, I think you're going to see Highway 77 go from the left to the right side. And then at center, Connor McGovern, he's fine. That's the one spot where you're not, going crazy over. We'll see if Joe Tippmann, takes that spot over at some point. But I think this offensive line could be a lot better than what the naysayers are saying. And if they aren't, and if they are as bad as, critics might say, then sure. Maybe this team crumbles. Maybe they don't become a 10-11 win team, make the playoffs if the offensive line is bad. But man, this defense is rocking. We'll talk about it with Kaz. And they have playmakers. They have a backfield. And they got Aaron freaking Rodgers. Oh, man, I'll be there Monday. I am fired up. Me and producer Andrew Hartz will be going to the game on Monday night. Jets, Bills, MetLife Stadium. The atmosphere is going to be off the charts. And we can't wait to be there. We can't wait to cover this full Jets season on Gangs All Here every Monday, every Thursday. And then, if there's a Monday night game like this Monday, we'll drop a show Tuesday. And then the preview show Thursday for the game Sunday. If the Thursday night game, we'll drop it Friday morning. Twice a week, former players, current players, broadcasters, celebrity fans, all the guests. We want to get you, the fan, involved. Tweet me at Jake Brown Radio. We want to get you involved. Follow me on Twitter. Get us going. And then watch us on the New York Post Sports YouTube page. Give us a thumbs up below if you're watching on YouTube. Comment below. Give us your predictions for the Jets season on YouTube. New York Post Sports YouTube. Find the Gangs All Here playlist. Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow the playlist. Comment below. Thumbs up. Comment. How many wins will the Jets have? Give us your predictions in the comments below and tweet me your predictions for the Jets season. We'll give ours in just a bit. Willie Colon's going to join us in a little bit. And now I'll welcome in my co-host, Brian Costello. All right, and now I bring in my critically acclaimed co-host, Brian Costello, Jets beat writer for the New York Post. Follow him on Twitter at Brian Kaz. Kaz, another year. You got to be thrilled for this year. You're finally going to get a football team that at least looks competent, that has a quarterback that's going to go to the Hall of Fame, and there's going to be storylines up the wazoo. For a beat writer, this has got to be a kind of maybe the best year of your Jets tenure besides 2015.
The winning doesn't matter, Jake. Losing is interesting sometimes too, right? You want interesting, and like, look, yeah, this team's going to be interesting no matter what happens. They're interesting, so that's good. Yeah, it's much better than a year like, say, 2017, right? It was a year where there was just, you knew there was going to be no interest in the team after about a month, except for the diehards. But other years, Jake, still Sam Darnold's rookie year, there was still interest. There's interest when a coach is going to get fired. The Tebow year, there was a ton of interest. So, this to me feels a lot like that, with like, this, it centers around one guy right now, but the guy is going to be playing 70 snaps a game, unlike Tebow. So that makes it different. But the winning aspect, winning and losing doesn't really matter. Just want them to be interesting, whatever that means.
Well, you got an interesting camp. I know you weren't the biggest fan of Hard Knocks. It was the shorter episode. Of course, I mentioned in the open that I loved it because I'm a musical guy. So that was, Nathaniel Hackett doing like this when he's out there dancing, and JFM asking, "Hey Aaron, does Michael Jackson sing it, or is it actually these actors singing?" Like it's them, JFM. So that was fun. But season's upon us. Jets Bills week 1. It's going to be rocking. Let's do kind of a dissection here before we get to predictions, which, if you've read Kaz's column, you may have tweeted him already. You might not be happy with his record prediction, but we'll get to that in just a minute. Let's start with the offense here, Kaz. This is an offense that could be dynamic, obviously at quarterback, but in the backfield with Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook, you got Michael Carter as your third guy. At receiver, Garrett Wilson was the offensive rookie of the year with no quarterback. So, he's due for a 1,600, 12 touchdown season. Alan Lazard has the comfortability. McCole Hardman is kind of your gadget guy, can do it all. Randall Cobb, has played with Aaron his whole life. You got the 2 tight ends in Uzama and Conklin, which we didn't see much usage of. Rodgers loves his tight ends. Let's start there with playmakers before we get to the offensive line. What do you think of, the receiving room, running back room, the tight end room?
You kind of gave the sunny side of the street, Jake, so I'll go the other way, of course. But there's potential there. There's tons of potential, obviously. And I agree with you. What you said could all happen, right? But the running back room, Breece Hall is coming off an ACL. We have seen many a guy come off an ACL, and they take that first year back. They're just not quite themselves. And then the second year, the Saquon, obviously a local example of that. They're dynamic in the second year, not quite the first year. Dalvin Cook, the reality is he had shoulder surgery in February. He had no training camp, came in, practice, started practicing last week. He could come in and hit the ground running. I'm not saying he won't, but there also could be a little acclimation period for him. He hasn't, guys need training camp. And, the Vikings saw something to cut him loose, right? They would have figured out the money if they felt like he was still the same Dalvin Cook. So that to me is a little bit, an area of concern. Receiver, I'm with you on Garrett. I think Garrett's going to have a monster season. I don't know what the numbers will be, but he looks awesome. I think he's going to be great with Aaron Rodgers. Past that, I'm not 100% sure what they're going to get. Alan Lazard, you look at his numbers in Green Bay, they're good, but they're not great. And he had a lot of drops in camp. So I'm curious to see how he does. McCole Hardman was really the gadget guy in Kansas City. Can he do more here? And Randall Cobb is 33 years old? I think, it's up there for a receiver. Can he play a full season? What does he have left? I'm not sure. Can it go perfect? Absolutely. It could, but it could go the other way too. And I think it's going to be somewhere in the middle, right? Some of these things that you said are going to come true. Some of the things I'm saying are going to come true. Tight end room, I think, looks solid, and I do think they'll be better with Rodgers. I don't think there's any question in that. So this offense absolutely has the potential to be dynamic. They could be a really good offense.
My Broadway / LeBaron guys, CJ Uzama and Tyler Conklin. And then when we look at the offensive line, listen, you're bringing the swampy side of East Rutherford. I'm bringing the sunny side of East Rutherford here, and gang's all here.
There is a sunny side of East Rutherford?
Not really. But we're gonna find one this season.
Okay.
The sunny side of New York
Beckton
City.
High School is nice. Beckton High School is nice, sir. I'll give Beckton a shout out.
Is Beckton like Mackay Beckton High School?
Yeah, it's spelled like Mackay Beckton. Beckton Regional High School is over there at East Rutherford.
Has he been there? I feel like that's an easy marketing opportunity.
That would have been good. Hard Knocks. What was he marketing though? School lunch? What do you?
Come eat a healthy lunch at Beckton High School.
I lost 50 pounds eating nutritiously. You guys drink your milk.
Yeah, put a photo of a PowerPoint of all of his his selfies from the gym over the off season. I am not as doom and gloom about the offensive line because I addressed this in the open. I think Dwayne Brown is, yes, he's coming off the surgery, but this is a guy who was a Pro Bowler in 2021 who has a strong track record throughout his career. Yes, he's older, but I think he's going to have a comeback year. Laken Tomlinson, same thing. Didn't have the greatest year last year, but the Jets gave him a big contract. He was also a Pro Bowler in 2021. I also think the
He
better
was a
court,
injury replacement in 2021. I'm not sure about Dwayne. Lakin was an
but
injury replacement.
he had a solid season in 2021
Yep.
with the 49ers. Right guard, Vera Tucker looked like a stud and then, gets hurt and he's out for the year. Had a great 2021, gets hurt last year. And then Mekhi Becton. I think he's done everything right in camp. You could argue, the durability. He hasn't been healthy in a few years and he's never played right tackle. But I think the lost weight, I think better shape is going to help him. I think better quarterback play, like Roger said, that great quote he had about, nurturing kind of the guys around him, making them better. I thought that was tremendous stuff. So I think Becton's due for a big year, and he knows he's trying to get paid. A monster year could get him a monster contract. So I think Highway 77 is going to the right side, and then center's whatever. McGovern's fine. We'll see if Tippmann gets that spot eventually. But, Kaz, I am not going to take the swampy side of East Rutherford's side of this offensive line because I do think while you may, they're critics, they have potential. Like there is potential that they can be great. And I think better quarterback play automatically makes them better. I know you don't agree with me on this, but I think there is something to, 10 straight completed passes helping an offensive line and durability helping an offensive line versus quarterback change, interception, turnover, fumble. I think there is something to that.
I don't think that matters as much, Jake. I think where Aaron helps him is getting the ball out of his hands. Like he's amazing, right? There was times where Zach Wilson or Mike White or Joe Flacco held the ball and they give up sacks and that kind of thing. Aaron can get the ball out of his hands like a dart, right? So that's going to help. That will help them. I guess I would in a similar vein as to the skill position players. Basically, who do you think is a sure thing, Jake, on the line? AVT, right? Would you say
yep.
AVT's? Everyone else, he kind of said, I believe in them. This could happen. This could happen. This could happen. So you've got four other guys who you're saying, if things break right, they're good. If things break wrong, it could be a little bit like what they experienced last year. So the chances of all four guys breaking right are slim. Could two of them break right and two of them not? Yeah, I think it's somewhere in the middle again. I don't think that's going to be a disaster. Like the lines, they'll figure out a way. Every team in the NFL is dealing with offensive line issues. It's amazing. There's just not enough good offensive linemen for the NFL. Like there's just not. You could pick any team in the NFL, look at their line, and there's problems. So the Jets are not unlike everybody else there. Becton, my concern with Becton is he hasn't played a full game in since 2020, right? So you're in December of 2020 is last time Mekhi played 60 to 70 snaps, whatever that will be. So I just think early on, I think there's going to be major growing pains for this offense just because there's a lot of guys coming off injuries. There's a lot of guys who didn't have a lot of camp. They didn't play together very much. There's a new quarterback. There's a new coordinator. There's a new offensive line coach. There's new pieces at running back, new pieces at wide receiver. So I think early on, don't be shocked if this offense does not look like the machine you're thinking of. Now, come November, that machine could be rolling. And we saw it for years, Jake, with the Patriots, right? Well, how many times did we see the Patriots start 2-2 and everyone's like, oh, that's it. They're finally dead. The Brady Belichick, it's over. Even that one year they were calling for Garoppolo to start after the Kansas City game in 2014, I think that was. And then all of a sudden you look up in December and they've won 11 or 12 games in a row. So I think the Jets could be similar to that in terms of just a little bit of, the offense, I think is going to start slowly. Now the defense might be good enough to carry them through those games and win those games. I don't necessarily think that means they're going to lose, but we're just talking offense. I think it could take a while before this whole thing gels.
Let's shift to that side because, they have pass rushers for every day of the week and twice on Sunday, Kaz. I mean, this is one of the best Jets defensive line rooms, ever with Carl Lawson, JFM, Jermaine Johnson, Will McDonald, Bryce Huff, Michael Clemens, to go with Quinn Williams, Al Woods, Quinn Jefferson, and Mr. Broadway, Solomon Thomas. This could be this could be an all-time Jets year for sacks. This could be New York Sack Exchange Part 2, Kaz. Jermaine Johnson said, like, I want to be dominant this year. I want to be a dominant force, and he's primed for a big sophomore year. Quinnen just got paid. You're expecting a big year. Carl Lawson, you're expecting a big year if he could stay healthy. Obviously, he's been dealing with some injuries. And Will McDonald looked great in camp, and he's a guy that could be a big part of this defense as well early on in the season. What do you think of that defensive line room, man? I think they're going to be great against the run, and I think they're going to have a lot of sacks this year.
I think they're great against the pass. I'm not sure about the run. So I think they're going to be awesome. I think they're going to have a ton of sacks. I think quarterbacks are not going to have time. I think you combo it with what they have at cornerback, and this is going to be a really, really good pass defense. Against the run, I'm not sure, because against the run, Jake, is the hardest thing to judge in training camp, because they're not tackling. You don't really have the running game in practice. They run, but like there's no tackling, so it's sort of weird, right? And then the days when they don't have pads on, it's very hard to judge what's going on in the run game. And then in the preseason games, they really didn't play, right? The starters barely played. They played a little bit against the Giants, but those were the Giants' backups. So I'm not sure what to expect against the run, because you remember last year they gave up some big runs. They had, they got gashed a few times. Seattle comes to mind, a couple other times. So I'm curious to see how they are against the run, but I think against the pass, they're going to be amazing.
I worry about the linebacker depth is one of my worries on defense. If one of those guys go down, Kaz, I think they might be in trouble, but it'll be interesting to see if they use those edge guys a little bit more. Do they put a couple of them out there? But listen, CJ Mosley's coming off a 158 tackle a year. So he is the captain. He is one of the three captains along with Rodgers and Justin Hardy. So, I'm looking forward to it. And then the secondary, like you said, there's nothing to worry about there. I mean, Sauce, DJ Reed, Michael Carter's looked like a good slot corner. And then, Jordan Whitehead is primed for a good second year in this defense under Jeff Ulbrich. And Tony Adams is the interesting guy, Kaz, to watch in this defense in his second year. He's going to be the starter. What do you think of that back end secondary with the safeties there?
Yeah, I mean, there's question marks at the safeties. I didn't think White had a great year last year. Sala was arguing the other day that he did, and if he had made the interceptions, we wouldn't be saying that. So we'll see. And Tony Adams is really an unknown, Jake. Obviously, the coaches love him, but I will say, if they loved him so much, why they trade for Chuck Clark? Right? They did he really emerged as the starter after Clark tore his ACL. So, he's a young player, second year, undrafted guy. So he's the question mark in the secondary, because the other ones have done so well. So I've read they're going to be the 85 Bears, Jake. So we'll see.
Hey, TJ Reed said he wants to be an all-time great defense, and I think there is a chance that could happen. Special teams is, for once, is not really a concern this year. You got a veteran punter in Thomas Morstead. You got Greg Zuerlein, and you got a pretty good kick and punt return in McCole Hardman. Kaz, I think we might have let me knock on wood here on my desk, but I think
Salah knocks on wood all the time.
I think the special teams room could actually be fairly competent, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I think Morstead is a huge difference for them at punter. He'll just be more consistent. And then, Zuerlein looked good last year, and he seems to have finally stabilized that position. We'll see the returners. I think Xavier Gibson will have something to say at returner too. He could return some kicks. So, the kicking game has been really minimized in the sport. So I'm curious to see how that goes this year. But I do think they're solid on special teams.
All righty, let's do it. Let's make our predictions now for the season. Kaz, I'll hand it off to you first. People have read your prediction. Let us know your record and do they make the playoffs and your reasoning. Let's hear it.
So I picked them to go 8-9, Jake, which I know will not be popular. I missed the playoffs. My reasoning, I think the schedule is brutal. I do think that. I think that, like I said, I think the start of the season could be slow. I can see 3-3 by the bye. I think the end of the season is kind of a little underrated trickiness that people aren't looking at. I have them losing the last two games. That's really where the season hinges to me. So at Cleveland, I think Deshaun Watson, I was always a fan of Deshaun Watson, the player in Houston. I think he's going to bounce back and be Deshaun Watson again. So I think that could be a very tough game on a Thursday night. And then finish the season in Foxborough, Jake. I just think there's poetry in them going to New England, and if their season's on the line there, that could be a tough spot. But look, I'll say this about predictions. I hate making them. I hate picking the games. I hate picking the season record. I'm wrong way more often than I'm right about the season record. It's very hard to pick the season record because you're going based largely off last year on most of these things, right? And so there's two huge things you never know when you're sitting here on September 6th trying to predict this. How healthy will the Jets be? Right? We don't know. We don't know that in the injuries, that'll influence everything. And then how are they catching the other teams, right? So like you just have to go back to last year and look at it. You know, if you told me they were playing Skylar Thompson twice when they played Miami, I would have viewed those games differently. If you told me Brett Rippon in Denver, if you told me when they played Aaron Rodgers in Lambeau, he was going to be coming off a broken thumb the week before. You know, and sometimes it goes the other way. You catch a team that's red hot, right? That's maybe not that good, but all of a sudden they go on a tear and you catch them. That like the timing of when you play teams is huge, and injuries are huge, so you can't predict those. So, you know, if you tell me they're going to go, if they go 10-7, I'm like, yeah, I can see that. If you tell me 11-6, that's I think 11-6. I think is every single thing breaks right for them, and they can go 11-6. It's a tough division, 6 tough games. So you know, I wouldn't argue with you if you told me, I think they're going to go 10-7, or I don't. I know people will see 8-9 and go, oh my god, it's horrible. I don't see. I see +2, -2 is kind of where you could end up. So
yeah, I think 8-9 is ludicrous. I think 8-9 means Rodgers got hurt. I think 8-9 is bottom of the barrel. Everything went wrong for the Jets. Listen, it's all
if Rodgers gets hurt, they're going 4-13, Jake. I'll tell you that.
That's true. It depends when. Let's not put that out there, but I know it's hoopla and hype and things to go wrong, but I love everything I'm seeing. I love it from on the field, off the field. I don't think you could overlook, you know, these guys and the unity that they've had off the field, going out together, doing different things. I think it's going to translate on the field. And there might be growing pains early. First 8 games are tough. You hope to escape those 4-4. But I think this defense is going to be elite. I think you're going to get a great backfield duo. Those guys will spell each other. If one guy's gassed, one guy's hurt, you got the other. You still got Michael Carter. You got Izzy. I think Garrett Wilson is going to have an all-time great Jets season for a wide receiver. I think you're going to see the tight ends get involved. I think it's all going to break right. So, yes, I'm going to take
nothing is going to go wrong. Nothing is going to go wrong for the Jets. How long have you watched this team? How long have you watched this team?
For once,
how long have you watched this team?
For once in Jets history, it's all going to go right. For the first time in my life, it's all going right for the Jets.
God.
And you know what? I'm going to be a homer. I wasn't going to do this. I wasn't going to get crazy.
You're going to be a homer. You're wearing a Jets shirt. You have a Jets jersey behind you.
I'm going to be extra homer. Because I was so mad when I saw 8-9. I'm going to be realistic with the record. I'm going to say, you know, they'll struggle a little bit early on, pick it up in the second half of the season. I'm going to say the Jets go 10-7. I'm going to say reasonable. They get a wild card spot.
That's reasonable.
And they're going to go to the Super Bowl.
And there you go. There he goes over the edge.
But if it all goes right with the quarterback, with everything in place, yes, it could. But let's just say for now,
if it all
goes right, why can't they win a Super Bowl?
All goes right. 5 words. If it all goes right.
If it goes right, can they win a Super Bowl if everything goes right?
Name for me the last time it all went right for the Jets.
Always a first. There's always but answer that. If it all goes right, everything's right. Can Rodgers lead them to the Super Bowl? I think the answer is yes.
I'm a believer, Jake, that you have to kind of take steps toward winning the Super Bowl. Like you got to sort of get to the playoffs, lose, and get there. You know, now the Bengals got to the Super Bowl a few years ago. They jumped into it. But I usually feel like, you know, the Eagles the year before, right, went to the playoffs, lost, and then they came back. They go to the Super Bowl. Chiefs were kind of a slow climb with Mahomes. They lost in the championship game to Brady. Then they win the Super Bowl the next year. That's about just my feeling. You generally don't just come in, the first time you make the playoffs in 12 years or 13 years and win the Super Bowl. I feel like you have to learn. You have to take the steps to get there.
Well, they're taking one giant step. 10-7, playoff appearance. Jets over the Eagles in the Super Bowl in Vegas. We'll see you in Vegas. Viva Las Jets Vegas. The Jets hoist their first Lombardi.
How is this team losing 7 games?
69. Because they're going to get off to a slow start. I think the offensive line is going to take time to develop cohesion. I think they're probably 3-3, 4-4 in those first 6 to 8 games. But then I think they hit their stride in the second half, Kaz.
Right.
And I think this defense carries. The defense is so good that if the offense stays healthy, it's going to be special. It just is. So I didn't want to go the crazy route, but I decided. I know Connor Hughes said they would go to the AFC Championship, so he's close to my prediction, but I'm going to take him over the top.
He's almost as crazy as you, so.
Yeah. So that's why I like him. He's crazy. He's a nut like me. Jets over the Eagles, the Super Bowl. All right, now
are you gonna bet the Jets winning the Super Bowl, Jake?
I think after they got Rodgers, I did put in a bet. I think it was like 25 to win like 300 if they win the Super Bowl or something like that. So it's already in. It was made months ago. I don't think I'm gonna make another one, but luckily everything's still in place for that to hit. And maybe I'll take you to steak dinner.
Still in place. September 6th. It's still in place to hit.
I think you got to take me to dinner if the Jets win the Super Bowl because it would be so shocking that it would be a cause for celebration. All right, before Willie Colon
I won't be able to eat
here.
dinner. I won't be able to eat dinner if the Jets win the Super Bowl. I'll be working so much.
Yeah. Well, listen, but think about it. Covering a Super Bowl, you're there like you always are, but the Jets. I mean,
I've said this for years. I've said this for years, Jake, because people say, "Oh, you root for them to lose." The ultimate Jet story is them winning the Super Bowl, and I do hope I get to write that story, whatever that is, because that's a story that will be read by more people than ever, and people will buy the paper, people will keep the paper. My story will be framed in people's basements. Like that's the ultimate is writing that story. There's no
I will frame your story right here. Cards, let's put that audio clip in the Hall of Fame, hang it in the Louvre, put it in a Canton, and
that's the ultimate story.
We'll put that on loop. So we want it. All right, let's before Willie Colon hops on here. It does start Monday night. There is a game at MetLife Stadium, and it's going to be an absolute raucous crowd. I cannot wait to be there. It's going to be buzzing, no gas, all break, trying to get there early Monday night. Just take off work, start tailgating at noon, for God's sake. Take the day off, pretend it's Labor Day all over again. Jets Bills. Jets are 2.5-point underdogs, Kaz, going to this one. Listen, the Bills are still the favorite. I still have them winning the division. But, they have showed us in the playoffs they have not been able to get it done. This is a very good defense, a really good secondary, brings back Tre'Davious White, brings back Jordan Poyer, a Pro Bowler last year. They got Leonard Floyd at linebacker. This is a really good defense, but I think the Jets defense is a little bit better. Break this game down for us, Kaz, and make your pick.
Yeah, look, Bills are a good team, but I think the emotion of Monday night is going to be crazy. I think the Jets are going to be flying high September 11th. The stadium's going to be jacked. It's going to be filled to the rafters. I was just saying to my wife last night, I pretty much have it set, Jake, of like when I leave my house to get to a Jets game, right? I've done it so many times. I think Monday I'm going to have to leave a lot earlier because I know you lunatics are going to be in the parking lot really early. And so I just can't see how the Jets lose this game, Jake. They can't lose this game. So I'll go score-wise. I think it'll be a good game. I think the Jets pull it out at the end. I'll go Jets 23, Bills 20.
It's a new season. Week 1, Kaz is taking the underdog, the Jets. Can you believe it? And who do you think they're going to lose 9 times after that? I don't know. I think it's all going to change.
Tune in next week.
Yeah, next week, 2017, Jets lose. I, of course, am going to take the freaking New York Jets. Are you kidding me?
Will the Bills score a touchdown or get shut out? Jake?
Yes,
that's what I'm waiting to hear from you. I'm getting here.
This will be a very tight game. I think the Bills are going to score,
Okay.
but the Jets are going to score more. That's how football works. The team who scores more wins. And I think the Jets are going to stop James Cook. They have no problem stopping the Bills' running game. Josh Allen's going to have a few, Hail Marys, a few balls to Stephon Diggs. Of course, he's going to get a few, but this Jets secondary is too damn good. I think Rodgers is going to light it up to start the game. The Bills are not as good against the run. They're a better team against the pass. And I think Josh
Allen haven't
Allen's
played a game yet.
no,
How
I'm
do you
just saying,
know?
based on last year, Josh Allen is going to be on his ass all day. They're going to put all the pressure in the world on Josh Allen. So if Kaz is picking the Jets, you better believe I'm taking the Jets. Jets 27, Bills 24. Greg
3 points
DeLay,
to me. All
late
right.
field goal,
I
wins the
agree.
game for them. And
Yeah.
it comes down to special teams in the end. And man, that after party, man, just cancel work on Tuesday. Just cancel work on Tuesday.
2 things. The Jets have always been good against Josh Allen, even when their defense hasn't been as good. They do well against Josh Allen.
They beat him last time, yeah.
Yeah. Well, here, right? Not in Buffalo, but
Yep.
they played well. It wasn't the defense's fault. Like they seem to, he fumbles a lot, throws some interceptions against them. Like they played well against Josh Allen. The second thing is, Tuesday, no matter what happens, Jake, Tuesday, I wish I could go like in a cabin in the woods and be completely disconnected, because whatever happens, the overreaction from you guys is going to be epic.
We'll see you Tuesday morning on Gangs All Here.
I'll be from a cabin. You'll have to tell me what the reaction is, because if the Jets win, it's gonna be, oh my god, they're going 17-0 to the Super Bowl. Ah! And if they lose, it's gonna be, oh no, here it is again.
I'm not gonna say here it is again, because this game could go either way. Now, if they get crushed and Rodgers is terrible or there's an injury, I don't even want to put that out there, because with our luck, there's something bad will happen. I've done that in the past, and I did not mean to do it. I think if they win, I'm not going to say, I already said Super Bowl.
You already said Super Bowl.
I guess I'm already
crying out loud.
I guess I'm already doomed no matter
You're
what.
already there.
I'm already at the top of the mountain no matter what happens.
You can say this now, Jake. We're sitting here on a Wednesday morning. You can say, oh, I'm not going to overreact. Blah, blah, blah. The week 1 overreactions are always insane, right? Remember last year after the Ravens game, that's when Salo said the receipts thing because the reaction was crazy. It's always over the top. This year, it's going to be like magnified by 1,000. So you can say whatever you want. I know you went Tuesday morning. You're going to be one extreme or the other.
Well, Tuesday morning, we'll see a 9 a.m. recording right here on Gangs All Here. Episode will drop around noon on Tuesday.